before Jonathan Karl was about to answer a question yesterday that turned out to be an 8-minute exchange, but we've brought you the highlights through the magic of editing. And here's part of that exchange where Jonathan Karl gets quite upset from ABC News because Jay lied to him. And now Jay, Carney, is not owning up to lying to him. Incidentally, have you ever been caught lying? I have. I'm not proud of that. I'm not sitting there going, I go out and lie. No, I don't do that. But I've been caught. I remember it was a great lesson while I was over in the former Soviet Union when there was a big misunderstanding. And even when I didn't mislead or do anything wrong, my Russian wasn't up to speed enough. I hadn't been there long enough for it to fully take over. And so my communication skills weren't the best. And we had an expression, just eat it. I would say to the administration and the media, you lied about the murder of 4 Americans, including our ambassador. And it's been found out, and the cover-up's been found out, and it's only going to get worse. We can all forgive, but come clean. I'm talking to you over at 60 Minutes, who had the information on the October 16th deception, when you had on September 12th the information on tape where the president did not identify Benghazi as a terrorist attack. Rather than digress further, I'd merely say this. Jonathan Karl, keep doing your job at ABC and demanding answers, because this exchange is what we need more of, because we need the truth. Roll it.
Well, that these Sunday show appearances were going to be dominated by the attack in Benghazi, right? As they were.
We certainly knew that that
Again?
would be a big part of the shows.
Or the primary thrust of those shows.
John,
you just had an attack on a U.S. consulate in Benghazi. You had Americans killed. You knew full well that what Susan Rice was primarily going to be asked about was about that attack. Terrorist attack on a U.S. consulate in Benghazi.
Can I read the promo from your show, ABC This Week?
All the promos you want. You don't acknowledge that these was going to be about the Benghazi attack?
John, absolutely. And that's why, as members of Congress did, Ambassador Rice relied on points about the Benghazi attack that were produced by the CIA.
We now know that that was not true, that in fact the CIA director, former Director Morell, just testified last month that, quote, when she talked about the video, my reaction was, that's not something the analysts have attributed this attack to. It did not come from the CIA. You stood there at the podium time after time and said that she was referring to talking points created by the CIA. Now we see a document that comes from the White House, not from the CIA, attributing the protests to the video. And we have the former director of the CIA saying that that was not something that his analysts had attributed.
That document that we're talking about today was about the overall environment in the Muslim world.
Say that the attack at Benghazi was rooted in a protest over the video? That's what she said.
I know that you and I are both in a different time zone right now, but we're still in April of 2014, and this is a discussion about what she said and what turned out to be the case that we have had dozens of times in this room.
What? Again, it is really being caught. Karl continued to press on. Now, this is a bit of a montage, but it keeps the flow of the focus of the question. And it is in order in the sense of time, but it keeps the focus about how Ambassador Rice was prepped, where the information came from, and that it was related directly to Benghazi. It didn't come from the CIA. Remember that? CIA, no YouTube video. No, that was us. It was the White House. And they knew it. Karl's calling them out. Roll it.
Why were you holding back this information? Why was this email not turned over to the Congress? Why was it not released when you released all the other emails? This is directly relevant. Why did you hold it back?
John, again.
Why did it take a court case for you to release this email?
John, I can say it again and again, and I know you can keep asking again and again. This document was not about Benghazi.
It was your prep for the Sunday
It wasn't
shows.
her only prep, John. She relied on for her answers on Benghazi on the document prepared by the CIA, as did members of Congress. We, the White House rather, and others involved in her prep, said when it comes to Benghazi, there's been a document prepared by the IC so that everybody is working off the same information, Republicans in Congress, Democrats in Congress, administration officials. This is what we know and what we are able to say about Benghazi at this time, and that's what she got. On all these other questions, as is the case for every Sunday, when the Treasury Secretary goes out, when the Deputy National Security Advisor goes out, when other administration officials go out, documents are prepared that anticipate questions from the press and provide answers based on our policy and our best understanding of what's happening at the time. That's standard operating procedure. And if you look at the document in question here, it is not about Benghazi, it is about the protests around the Muslim world outside of U.S. embassies and what we know about them and what we should say about them based on our policies.
But it's Benghazi specific as a header. And so, again, the frustration, that was a real-time clip. The other was the clip of highlights where it dealt directly following the conversation that was on point. And as you can see, there's a lot of dodges. Now, I'd love to play 8 minutes of it. It's not going to change. It's just you're going to hear Jay Carney say things that are meant to distort or not answer. Unfortunately, that's the reality. A lot of people have criticized and played politics. I have no idea why the Boehner played politics with this and said there wasn't anything there. I don't know why we haven't had a select committee, quite frankly, and it makes me sick. And he's still going down that road. Hasn't reached the threshold of that. I hope the speaker changes his mind. Again, I don't say Republican, I don't say Democrat, I say Speaker of the House. That's John Boehner. You know, it's reached a certain threshold when Morning Joe Scarborough, who often takes pot shots at conservative talk radio as if it's some monolithic group. I don't claim to speak for any other talk show host, period. I don't answer for any other talk show host, period. Because that wouldn't be fair to me and it wouldn't be fair to them. Wherever the shoe is. I always encourage you to listen to AFR talk and lock it in. So you can catch people like Dan the Man Celia and Tim Wildman and Eddie V. But I digress. I want to move to the response this morning on Morning Joe from Donnie Deutsch, a PR guru, who had some advice for Republicans. Have you heard this type of advice before? Why is it that politics and playing the political game of what's going to stick and what's not going to stick always seems to be trumping what should matter, which is the truth? Well, Joe Scarborough, he had his Morning Joe. Roll it.
I want to put up a warning for the Republicans because obviously the Republicans are seeing on this and jumping in. I think this is fool's gold for 2016. I do not think the Benghazi. I think if they focus on this.
What about the cover-up for the White House? I get everybody here. Get everybody here apologizing for the White House.
By the way,
I'm
talking about political strategy. I think that.
Okay, exactly. But why are you jumping to political strategy
I'm just giving my point of view. I'm saying it's clear what happened.
Why aren't you talking about what Jay Carney did? The doublespeak.
Because it is doublespeak, but I'm talking politics. It's a political show.
Well, so tell me, what's the politics of the White House lying about something that we all know they're lying about? When Jay Carney is saying it's not about Benghazi, when you know it's about Benghazi.
If they're going to run against Hillary Clinton on this, I think it's a bad political move.
Knows it's about Benghazi, and he knows it's about. Everybody watching knows it's about Benghazi, and you're talking about how the Republicans. You see the White House spokesperson lying on national television. You see an ABC news person shocked that he's lying and treating the press corps in America Americans like they're stupid. He says it's not about Benghazi. Republicans and conservatives have been called fools for a year now for saying this happened. They don't release it with the original documents that are released. They finally, reluctantly, are forced to release it. Then you have the White House lying about it yesterday, saying it's not about Benghazi, and your only reaction is, hey, Republicans better not overreact to the cover-up.
That we, as voters, understand both Republicans and Democrats are political animals and are going to manage a crisis in their situation to their favor.
So,
and what I am saying,
when Democrats cover something up, it's politics.
Joe, you know
when
what?
Republicans cover something up, it's a scandal.
I think a Republican
it would be on the front page of the New York Times. It would be on the front page of every newspaper in America. But when Democrats cover up,
Joe,
you think it's shrewd political gamesmanship.
No, I'm not. I'm saying it is a reality.
Donnie.
No, it's not a disgrace. I am saying what that office did is reality.
Disgraceful.
And I am saying that if the Republicans bite, it's a stupid move. And what I just said, I will stand by.
What about the media biting? What about the media doing their job? What about the media calling a cover-up a cover-up?
The media has covered this.
Yeah, no, they haven't. Asked Cheryl Atkinson. Is he, by the way, Ben Rhodes is brother of the guy who runs CBS News? Is that right? I'll get to that. Let's go to the clip of the day where Congressman Chaffetz asked General Lavelle about saving those who were being attacked. Let's see how this fits into the old PR campaign and rationalizing lying to the American people about the murder of 4 Americans and what happened. Cut 10. Roll it.
Did they actually go to the sound of the guns? Did they actually go into Benghazi?
No, sir, those assets did not.
Why not?
Basically, there was a lot of looking to the State Department for what it was that they wanted, and in the deference to the Libyan people and the sense of deference to the desires of the State Department in terms of what they would like to have.
Did they ever tell you to go save the people in Benghazi?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
We didn't run to the sound of the guns. They were issuing press releases. We had Americans dying. We had dead people. We had wounded people. And our military didn't try to engage in that fight. Would you disagree with that?
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman may answer on any of the questions if you didn't think you got enough time to answer fully.
4 individuals died. Sir, we obviously did not respond in time to get there.
Could we have?
The gentleman's time has expired. Go ahead.
We may have been able to, but we'll never know.
Because we didn't try.
I think that.
Let's ask the question, why wasn't this run on the networks during the coverage? Why just on the cable networks? I realize it's a different cable environment now than Iran-Contra, but I believe it was worthy of this. As Americans, as our president lied to us, as our Secretary of State lied to us, knowingly misled. And the games that are being played right now, well, just read a little Rules for Radicals and you'll understand it. In order to make sure that we expose this and tell the truth, we will continue to do so, wherever that goes. But this is not just about one man, our president. It's about our government and our media. And all we want is nothing but truth. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. AFR Talk.